Hi everybody. So I want to talk about the next rule of engagement, and that is do not feed the animals. Okay. Narcissists thrive on extracting what's known as narcissistic supply. It's the emotional charge they get out of messing with people. And it's the satisfaction they get from interacting with people. It's also satisfaction they get from satisfying their ego. So anytime they have a new accomplishment, that's also supply. It's not necessarily related to you. But there's the concept of positive and negative supply that I think eludes most people, and it defies comprehension by all accounts. The concept of negative supply. So in the emotional preparation video, I touched on this, and that's narcissists would rather be on the receiving end of you being terrible and you hurting them or you getting revenge. They would rather be on the receiving end of that than to hear nothing at all, right? So it's sort of backwards. When you're engaged with a narcissist, they see it like it's a boxing match, right? So they're sort of like that boxer or that fighter that's always itching for a fight, and they would rather take a punch because they'd rather take a punch for the ability to be in a fight, to be in a boxing match. They know that they're going to take some punches, and that's the price that they pay for it. They'd much rather do that than to just be on the sidelines and never be involved in a fight. So you see how that works? Positive and negative supply. Either way, they're fine with it because that's just part of the fight. That's just part of the price that they have to pay to get their fix. So even when you nail them to the wall, and whenever you're angry and as terrible as you could possibly be, and you see that sick little grin on their face where they're enjoying it, I've used the example of imagine Stewie from Family Guy. Stewie's voice, yes, take out all of your anger and aggression on me. Yes, do your worst. Show me how terrible you can be. That kind of thing. Like they're enjoying it. Like, look at you go. Look at how mad I got you. Look at you. Yeah. Give me your hate. Give me your tears. All that kind of sick bullshit. That's negative supply. And some of them can thrive on it even more than positive supply, which is when they're confirming in their heads like how awesome they are. So for them, positive supply most often is them being able to speak to you in a condescending tone. That's what makes them feel bigger. They're addicted to condescension. They're addicted to how they sound when they condescend you. Just simply put. So don't feed that. So how do you fix this? Well, again, in the emotional video, you want to remain calm. Okay? Remain calm. Don't allow them to upset you. This is actually easier. I don't want to say easier done than said. Once you get your mind right and you take the preparations that I laid out in the beginnings of the video, this is much easier to do, to remain calm, because you now know the nature of the beast you're facing. You know what it's going to entail, and you can set your expectations and you can set your abilities to the appropriate levels. You can tune yourself to fit the situation. So remaining calm, you already know what all their strategy is going to be. I'm right, you're wrong. They're going to project onto you. They're going to refer to other people not involved, which is triangulation. They get other people involved that have no business being involved. You know all the things they're going to do. It always boils down to one of two results of proving why they're right or why you're wrong, and why you're, such a terrible person. Whatever. Those are pretty much the only two outcomes they're going to have. They're just going to use different tactics to do it. So they can always look a little different, sound a little different, but that's the overall result. They're trying to increase the disparity of status between you and them. They're elevating themselves, de-elevating you. So that basically comes out to, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm good, you're bad, I'm awesome, you are unawesome. They're gonna always push to increase that imbalance. So you ignore it. Just ignore it. Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It only matters to them. And if you just don't care about it, that really irritates them. You have to stay calm, like the dude from The Big Lebowski. Stay calm with your points. Don't let them throw you off. They're going to interrupt. They're going to put it back on you. Interrupting is one of the big things they do. And you just don't change anything about your tone of voice. Don't get upset. Don't change anything, because that is how they gauge whether or not they're being effective. They gauge their effectiveness by your response. Any emotional change, any change in your emotions or your tone or your demeanor, they're going to take that as evidence of effectiveness or efficacy, or whatever the other word is going to be for that. That's the evidence that they use to base it. And it charges them, it energizes them to see any kind of emotional change or response from you. So just remember that. Nothing irritates them more than to have an impassioned response or reply. They've used all of their tactics. They've done all of the work. Like Wile E. Coyote, they launched their nuke at this other country, right? In one of the more popular videos on this channel, talking about why no contact is so effective. I said, if you wanted to start a war and you're a country, good way to do that is launch a nuke over the border, just pew, right? And just imagine if you launch a nuke, pew, and there's no explosion, there's no response, there's nothing. It just launches, nothing. There's no explosions, there's no retaliation, there's no flash, there's no bang, there's literally nothing. And they sit there like Wile E. Coyote, plugging their ears, waiting for the response, and after a minute they're like, what happened? Why is there no response? Why wasn't there a flash? Why wasn't there a bang? Was it a dud? Did they capture it? Maybe I just gave them a nuke to use. The silence drives them nuts, and they sit there and they think about it. When they're expecting a response from you and they don't get it, it drives them nuts. It's like a cat on a laser pointer. When you run the laser around the corner and then you turn it off, and they sit there and they stare, and then they get curious and they go walking. What happened to the laser? It's the same effect. So you stay calm. Do not change your tone. Do not change your tone. Do not change your tone. When you change your tone, you energize them. You absolutely energize them to have any change in your tone. So your tone, to put this differently, it's your poker tell, okay? Your change in tone, you don't want to reveal what's in your hand. You don't want to flip over your cards. Your tone shows your cards. And if you show your cards, your chances of winning the hand go way down, right? Unless you go all in, blah, 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 whatever. There's certain ways to dissect the poker analogy that make it fail, but I'm not interested in that because this isn't poker. But you get the idea. Any change in your tone, any change in your emotions is giving away poker tells about what is working, what's not working, and it lets them know their position and how well they're doing in the confrontation or in the engagement. you know, so don't tell them how they're doing. That's how you tell them how they're doing. Hey, how is my fighting? Is it horrible? Is it intolerable? Is it too simplistic? And am I a loser? And do I have no ability to fight whatsoever? You're filling out the survey by what you put out there emotionally. So again, in the preparations, emotional preparation is super important. It's one of the most important things you can do. The emotional preparation, the spiritual preparation, all of it is important, because you have to tie down all of those areas if you want to be a super tied shoe knot. Okay? If you haven't been watching any of the other videos, go back and watch it. It's basically the premise of when you're prepared. Narcissists are habitual knot pickers. They like to pick at the knot, pick until the knot comes untied and comes unraveled. And that's what they're going to do. And the way that they get feedback as to how well of a knot picker they are is by gauging off your emotional responses. You have to be flat. You have to be the dude from Big Lebowski, man. You know, yeah, man, you know, this aggression will not stand, man. Fucking A. That rug really tied the room together, didn't it? You know, you have to have that calm, that unwavering calm. In your tone, like I said, you have to be physically alert, physically active, physically radiant, but calm. Assertive, calm. Don't let them throw you off. So that's all I got. Thank you very much. Please like, comment, or share, and we'll be on to the next video now.